Good morning and welcome to the 10 a.m. daily weather brief. To start us off, looking at our upper level wind profile from our morning balloon launch today, our freezing level sits at 14,600 feet, and near the surface, our winds are flowing southwesterly before we see a slight shift to a more west northwesterly direction aloft. And for our wind velocities, our surface winds are staying around 20 knots and generally increase gradually with height. And there is one exception. At 12,000 feet, we did observe a brief lull in speed at about 16 knots, but our maximum wind speed today was recorded near the 20,000 foot mark and reached a speed of 29 knots. Now pulling up our most recent surface analysis chart for a general overview, we do have a stationary frontal boundary beginning to mobilize just north of our forecast area this morning, and while a strong Bermuda high is keeping conditions warm and humid, and also keeping our precipitation chances limited early throughout the earlier portion today. This boundary is expected to move through as a weak cold front later this afternoon and evening, possibly triggering some thunderstorms that may continue into the early hours of tomorrow. And the front will then linger through Saturday and potentially increase our storm chances before a warm front arrives Sunday. And that will allow a slight chance of some showery precip to develop, and which will be followed quickly by a stronger cold front moving through on Sunday and into Monday as a trough digs across the northeast. And this second front should deliver a welcome change with highs in the lower to mid 80s and dew points falling into the 60s, especially by Monday, which should make for noticeably more comfortable conditions in comparison to what we could consider some oppressive humidity that has dominated much of July thus far. And that more pleasant weather should continue Tuesday under a surface high over the Great Lakes and through, although slight precipitation chances do remain, and that is due to some somewhat favorable upper level flow. But by mid to late next week, a large ridge expanding over the central U.S. and deeper south will likely bring a return to those hot and humid conditions, particularly come Thursday and Friday. Now moving on to our 24-hour risk chart. Just slight changes to the TAF this morning, but everything else remaining largely the same. We should see some scattered cloud cover early in the period, slowly turning to broken and building in as we get into the later hours this evening, in which we see those precip chances rise up a little bit, chance for shower thunderstorm moving through the area, and then that cloud cover persists in the very early hours before it slowly starts to dissipate in overall coverage come, let's say, 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Now, at the tail end of the forecast period, there is also a chance that some showers or thunderstorms move through as well. And touching on our ceilings, come tomorrow morning, there is a chance that we see some lower level cloud cover below 500 feet, so indicated by some yellow on the board here. Otherwise, winds should remain well below any advisory criteria, with winds generally 5 to 10 knots in the earlier portions of our period, and then dying down to become variable and less than 6 knots to round off the next 24 hours. Moving to our short-term risk chart here. Saturday, mostly cloudy conditions with a slight chance of a morning shower or thunderstorm and a high of 85, as well as a slight chance that we see some morning low-lying cloud cover. And then Saturday night, mostly cloudy with a chance of a shower or thunderstorm once again and a low of 77. And then Sunday, partly cloudy with a slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm, high of 89. Which brings us on to the 7-day forecast. Earlier in the period on Saturday, we do see some increased rain probabilities, and later on in Saturday, once again, we see the chance for some showers or thunderstorms to pass through. Same with Sunday, there is a lesser chance, but certainly still there that we do see some precipitation move through. And then we open it up for a nice following 5 days there, in which cloud cover should slowly be decreasing through Monday and into Tuesday, when we see partly cloudy conditions, and our highs actually drop to quite comfortable conditions along with our dew points, to be realized in the low 80 range before we start to see a warm up come Thursday and Friday, in which we have the possibility of climbing back into the 90s. But once we get past the Saturday and Sunday time frame, the next week ahead looks pretty good. And that is going to conclude the 7-day outlook, and we will be back on Monday at 8:15 with the daily weather operations brief. Thank you, and have a good weekend, everyone.